And we're continuing Wheel of Time year here, 2020, the day and age of Wheel of Time, with a discussion about the handling of friendships within the series. Because to me, it's one of the best handled aspects of the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, for many reasons. And no, I'm not going to be touching on the whole pillow friends thing in depth here, because I don't need to. Don't text me right now! Basically, Robert Jordan used pillow friends to mean, like, you know, they were gay together. Because the Wheel of Time was written in a time where you couldn't, you know, just actively, openly have gay characters, so he kind of went around that, or bi characters, what have you. But yes, that's confirmed from, like, people on Team Jordan. That's what that meant. I don't know why there's, like, such strong pushback against that idea. Homophobes don't want it in the series. So, okay, we're not focusing on that. Moving on to the actual friendships within the Wheel of Time, because I love them. Not only because I didn't have many friends growing up, and I really connected to the Wheel of Time characters, but I found the evolution of Robert Jordan's handling of these people to be just better than pretty much any other relationship development I've seen within a fantasy series. And there's the obvious, like, advantage Wheel of Time has, where it's 14 books. Like half that could just be if I had all my Wheel of Time books in a row, just like Wheel of Time. So many books. So there's a lot of pages to develop these friendships. But he takes into consideration things that I feel many authors forget about. And the first one we're going to touch on here that I think is oh so important is power dynamics. Within Wheel of Time, there are drastically shifting power dynamics between these characters. And by the way, spoiler warning here. Gonna have to put that out there because we're gonna have to touch on certain events within the series. But if you've been watching my channel for a while and you haven't at least started the Wheel of Time, shame on you. Do it, please. But getting into these spoilers now, certain characters in the Wheel of Time become much more powerful as the series goes on. We see Randall Thor become the Dragon Reborn. Why are people calling me so much? That's not like a bit I'm doing. I just keep getting calls and forgetting to turn off my volume. We see Randall Thor go from innocent farm boy who almost dies from a Trolloc, who for some reason can talk and that never happens again, to someone who can obliterate entire armies of tens of thousands and barely break a sweat. He breaks quite a bit of a sweat. He breaks a sweat doing it, but he can kill armies of tens of thousands. Now, I don't know about you, but if my lifelong buddy that I grew up in a secluded village with, who I thought of as like kind of a dorky guy, but I hung around him, even though he's like kind of lame, but like there's not many people to hang out with here, so I'm gonna hang out with him. If suddenly that was like the most powerful person in the entire world, our relationship would change drastically. And Robert Jordan really takes that into account. And it happens at first most drastically between Rand and Matt, as basically when Rand finds out that he can channel, Matt starts basically like being a genitals. And Perrin starts encouraging Matt to not be the worst friend ever and actually support the guy they know and love. But once Rand ascends to levels of power that pretty much no one else within the land can even dream of attaining, even though Perrin has become like this lord figure, it's where Perrin and Rand start really clashing, and their relationship takes a lot of damage. And of course, other fantasy authors have relationships and friendships that break and schism and all these things, but it's so well motivated and set up in the Wheel of Time that I want to heap praise onto it, because it's not only that we know Rand struggles with the thing that him and Perrin clash over, taking Aes Sedai prisoners and having them possibly being mishandled by their captors, but we know Perrin is the kind of person who just hates injustice in general. So they both hate this situation, but Rand knows this is what must be, while Perrin is pushing against that. He doesn't see why Rand is doing this, and the fact that their fight starts as like a staged fight, but severely escalates, is like the most real thing I've ever heard from a fantasy friendship. Like, yeah, we need to scheme something together, so we're gonna fake splitting up, but then within the text it's like, yeah, it was supposed to be a fake fight, and then apparently Perrin's a lot bigger than Rand, so as the fight escalated, Rand apparently used the power to throw Perrin around, and wow, that's an escalation of conflict if I've ever seen one. And from here, as we see, like, these relationships struggle due to changing dynamics within the world, how these characters are evolving, Robert Jordan doesn't do what a lot of fantasy authors do from here, and this is point 2, where there are consequences and long-lasting damage to how these people feel about each other without ever really destroying the love that is there. So these people do all reunite at different times. They see each other again after being apart for months, or in some cases even upwards of a year. And of course, they don't just slide back into their like, oh, we're best buds and so comfortable around each other. There's this feeling of distance that is so well written into the page. While they're still able to give each other crap, they'll still have really fun moments. There's kind of a panacea measuring contest between Matt and Rand, especially that fans really enjoy, but they're never written to be as comfortable around each other as they once were. And that's because they know these people they're around, while they are the friend from your childhood, it's not necessarily the same person. And I so respect an author who's willing to take the time to go, yes, people are going to fight. They're not going to stop loving each other, but there's going to be long-lasting effects. And as they grow more distant and their friendship does remain there, it's not what you're ever going to really experience back at the beginning of the series. This is going to get a bit personal here, but I recently kind of saw some friends of mine that I hadn't seen in a long, long time. And immediately around them, I was just like, I love these people. It's great seeing them. And in many ways, they were very similar. But there were things definitely that were different about me, and there were things that were definitely different about them. And so it wasn't like we were just hanging out once again at another, get together. There was a bit of a clash. And it wasn't until I started recently rereading The Wheel of Time again, because I'm a depressed little boy, Wheel of Time's my comfort food, that I made this connection where there is this existing, realized, real world you can draw connections to thing that happens where if you haven't been around for someone for years, it's not going to feel as comfortable as it once did. Now, add on top of that the fact that one of them has become a fantasy Jesus Christ, yeah, it's going to be a bit odd. And then that fantasy Jesus Christ handled you with his magic in a way which was probably not pleasant. You're going to have a problem with the guy a bit. And this brings me to my final third point and why I felt the need to make this video. And it's something I've already touched on a little bit, but the friendships never die. These people, you can tell, still have so much love. They still know each other better than anyone else they've met along the way does. Because at the core of a person isn't going to be able to change that much in the span of time the series takes place in. Rand is still Rand. Perrin is still Perrin. Matt is still Matt. There's so many other characters I should also mention here because there's so many great friendships in The Wheel of Time, but these three are the central ones, so I'm going to talk about them the most. And while they definitely are a bit more stilted around each other, while the dynamic is not what it once was, all of them are more powerful, have bigger egos, more experience in the world. They're still able to give each other crap. They're still able to just relate, talk in a way where no one else can. And that's the kind of very deep level of character work and relationship work that makes me love The Wheel of Time so much. Because yes, it's not what it once was, but it's still different and more special than what anyone else could possibly have with these characters that we've seen along the way. I would say between these three, the friendship that stands up the best and least changed is between Perrin and Matt, and the ones that do definitely struggle the most are between Rand and anyone else, but that's for very obvious and easy to understand reasons. He's the person who has to be the most separated. But the fact we have those moments like Matt and Rand trying to just one-up each other accomplishment-wise lets you know they don't hate each other, they're going to love each other forever, and their friendship is something special. All of this was able to be achieved because of, one, how long the series is, how much these characters go through, but where Robert Jordan's genius comes in is taking the time and effort towards the later bits of the series to really bring them back home and have these quieter, special moments with each other that let the reader know they haven't completely split from each other. The schism may not be indefinite in terms of, maybe one day they'll just be able to get a drink at an inn. Especially with how the series ends, maybe that's possible. And of course, I need to mention Brandon Sanderson as well for also putting in, I'm sure, a ton of time and effort to wrapping these characters up in a very satisfactory and cathartic way. Both of these guys at this point, both deserve credit and love. Anyway, guys, this has just been my very hyperactive, quickie rant thoughts on a friendship dynamic within The Wheel of Time, or friendship dynamics within The Wheel of Time, that I wanted to talk about why I think it's so special, because it's something that is one of the reasons I keep returning to the series. And it's not just these three. We of course have Shawan Moraine, we have Nynaeve, Egwene, Elaine, Avienda, who are all easily worth a video on their own. I just decided to focus on the big three Tal'Viren boys because they're the face of the series a lot of the time, at least to people who are just getting into it, not past the first couple books. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, your favorite friendship within The Wheel of Time, because I don't even know if one of these three is my favorite friendship, because there's so many good ones that are given the time, care, and effort from the author. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and have a good one, y'all. Peace. And of course, I'd like to record a special shout out to my latest high tier Patreon, Talon George. Thank you so much. I saw you messaged me. Haven't gotten to it yet. Sorry. I have I think over 50 messages between Twitter, Instagram, my email, and Patreon I have to get to, and I just haven't yet. I will soon. I promise.